y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today we're going to be starting 3 new varieties of seeds that are brand new to me, including blue lace flower, toothache plant, and creeping thyme. Okay, so all 3 of these varieties are brand new to me. I have purchased creeping thyme in plant form from nurseries in the past. I have seen the blue lace flower many times and always wanted to grow it. I'm a little behind on that one. And the toothache plant is just a very unusual plant that I've been wanting to start. So I'm very excited to be starting all these from seed. I purchased all 3 of these varieties of seeds from Southern Seeds, and they typically run a sale 50% off quite frequently on their seeds, so you might want to check them out if you're interested. Now I'm growing each of these plants for different reasons. I'm growing the toothache plant because it was weird. That's literally why I'm growing it. Weird, unusual looking. It's supposed to have a weird sensation when you chew on it, so I thought that would be really fun. The creeping thyme, I'm starting a bunch of the creeping thyme because I'm really wanting to use it as an underplanting plant. And I actually have a video coming up talking about underplanting, just varieties of plants that are really great for underplanting. But I've always wanted to grow it, and I don't want to keep buying it because I usually buy it for around $5 per plant, which is a little pricey. So I thought starting it from seed would be really helpful. And then that Didiscus, or blue lace flower, is a cut flower that I've been wanting to grow for quite a while as well. So 3 very different types of seeds for 3 very different reasons. Okay, let's start with the toothache plant. So this guy is perennial in zones 9 through 11. It's used for medicinal purposes. Basically, the idea is if you eat the leaves or even the flowers, that it kind of creates like a tingly little numbing feeling in your mouth. And so the idea is that if in the past, if you had a toothache, you would munch on some of that and it takes some of the pain away. Okay, it is native to South America, and it is definitely like a creeping plant, like it's going to spread out, and it can even be considered aggressive in some areas. It is easy to pull out and remove if needed. It stays pretty short in height. I didn't put the, I believe it's around like 14 inches or below. And it can be grown on like the edge of a garden bed or a raised bed or a planter, and it will cascade over the side. It is full sun to part shade, excellent for containers, drought tolerant. So it's a very hardy plant, which is going to be really fun. I hope it does really well with the hottest parts of my summer. And it's known to be really great for containers. I am growing a lot of flowers this year that I'm going to be using in containers. I've started a lot of coleus. I've started a lot of petunias. I've started tons of dahlias from seed. I've started a ton of varieties that are going to be utilized in containers this year. So I'm hoping to spend less money at the nursery and be able to utilize these plants that have started from seed. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the toothache plant first. You want to start this guy about 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost, which is just about the right time for me. My last frost tends to be mid-March. So we're going to go ahead and start with my portable soil tray right here. And the soil that I use is the BM7, Burger BM7. I've been getting a lot of questions about where you can find this soil. I buy this soil at Homegrown Plants in Farmersville, Texas. It is available at other nurseries. It doesn't tend to be available at like a big box nursery. So you can go online and look up, go to the Burger website and look it up and find out where you are able to purchase it in your area. Okay, we're going to be starting 1 container of this. So I'm using my Amazon seed cell starting trays. And if you're interested in any of that, my Amazon storefront link is in the description below. All the products that I use are available on there. And I start with dry soil. Now I did have somebody the other day who commented about how they used the dry soil technique, but that never soaked up any of the water. I do want to make sure that I point out you must use potting soil. This technique where you're starting with the dry and then you're putting the water in the water reservoir does not work with seed starting mix, because seed starting mix does not naturally or easily soak up water. So that is something to remember. You do need to go ahead and start with a potting soil for this technique to work. If you're starting with the seed starting mix, just go ahead and moisten it out on your mat. Okay, so we've got that set up. The toothache plant is surface sow. And what did I do with it? Okay, it is a surface sow. the seeds are very tiny. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start a couple in each cell. So I'm going to just go ahead and sprinkle them. All right, I went ahead and used the whole package. Then I'm going to use my fingers to gently press down, make sure that these have really good contact with the soil. The seeds are not going to germinate very well if they don't have good contact with the soil, because the soil is where they're going to get their moisture, right? So then I'm going to take my water reservoir, fill it up about halfway, 50% of the way. Go ahead and set my seed tray in here, and you can watch in real time as it soaks it up. Once again, you must use potting soil to be able to get this technique to work. And I've still got a few seeds left. And these germinate in about 5 to 7 days, which I love. I love when there's a quick germination period. And they need to be at about 72 to 76 degrees Fahrenheit in order to germinate. So my house is typically around the 68 to 70 range. So I am going to go ahead and add these to a heating mat. And these seedlings right here, they do need pinching as they grow, but as these grow, I will report back and give y'all updates. I need to do another seedling update actually in the next week or so, show y'all where everything's at. And if there's any adjustments along the way for this, like pinching, I will definitely show that in future videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and place my humidity dome on it, making sure that it is closed at the top and that we have really great contact. And then this is gonna go on the heating mat. Okay, the next variety I'm going to start is a blue lace flower, or Didiscus, and I think I'm actually late on starting this. I actually think that this might work better as like a cool flower, but we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Reason I think it's going to work better as a cool flower is it doesn't like hot weather. And so the theory should have been I should have started this a while ago, and then I could have gotten it out sooner in the cooler weather so it had time to bloom before our hot weather starts hitting in May. Okay, so the blue lace flower is grown as an annual. It's about 2 feet tall. It loves full sun, well-draining soil. And like I said, it really prefers cooler weather as opposed to the hot weather. So we'll see how this goes. And if need be, there's a ton of seeds in here. I will wait and start some of these towards the end of the summer and maybe potentially try to overwinter these. Or if I end up not doing that, then probably what I'll do is I'll start these in the future at the beginning of January so that the seedlings have a lot of time to grow on before I plant them out. Now, the roots of these do not like to be disturbed. So that's something to remember. I'm still going to go ahead and sow them in my traditional container, my traditional Amazon container, but you could direct sow these. You could sow these into some larger containers if you wanted, so that you don't disturb the roots over time. Because I'm so late, I know that there's not really a good chance I'm going to be potting these up to the next size. So that's why I'm just going to go ahead and start them in the Amazon containers. Now, I really, really like the look of these flowers. They're just so light and airy and lacy. They remind me a little bit of a scabiosa. It's kind of the feel and styling. And then almost a cross between a scabiosa and Ami, or Queen Anne's lace. It's kind of a cool look. I think these will be really fun to have in the cut flower garden. Okay, so once again, I am starting with my dry potting soil coming across. You don't want to overly pack your potting soil. We still want it to be pretty easy for the roots to go through. So we're looking for kind of a nice in-between where it has, you know, some gentle packing. I'm using just 2 fingers to kind of, not pushing with all my strength or anything like that. But nice enough, like firm enough where it kind of stays together, but loose enough that the roots can go through. Because truthfully, when you're transplanting this, the roots are kind of holding all the soil together in the container. You might hear a trombone in the background. My son is practicing and my daughter's playing flute. We sound like a band hall here. All right, so we're filling this up 50% of the way. We'll go ahead and add this in. I love watching this soak up the water. It's so fun. And by the time I'm finished seeding, the top part of this will all be dark. Okay, so these are surface sow, or you can lightly cover them with something like what am I trying? Vermiculite if you wanted, or a little bit of soil. Maybe we'll put a little bit of soil. We'll actually probably put some vermiculite, I think. I'm doing 2 seeds per cell. I hope y'all are enjoying this kind of grow along with me. I know I've gotten some comments about how the videos are too long and there's too much like detail in it. I just feel like as a gardener, I want to know all the detail. I want to see the whole process when there's people are starting seeds, because the more knowledge I have, the better gardener I'm going to be able to be. And so I do try to put a lot of this information and knowledge out there. And I know that not everybody is starting Didiscus blue lace flower, but it is fun to watch and it is fun to learn. So I'm going to come through and I am going to press down and make sure that this has really good soil contact. And the soil is already becoming moist. And let's go ahead and top this with a little bit of vermiculite. I should have done some vermiculite on the toothache. I might go back and do that. All right, and this likes to be kept at about 60 to 70 degrees for germination, which means I do not need a heating mat for it inside my house. And it does germinate in about 10 to 28 days. So a little bit longer germination. It also does really well with pinching. So we definitely want to pinch it. Usually when there's about 2 sets of true leaves, and we want to pinch it about that time to encourage branching. That encourages more flowers. This plant also, the more you deadhead it, the more flowers it's going to produce. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the top of it, making sure that my humidity dome is closed and it is not going on a heat mat. Okay, the next variety I'm going to be starting is creeping thyme, and I'm really excited to get this one started. It is a perennial for my particular area, and it's kind of like an evergreen ground cover, and it does produce flowers late spring through summer. Even though it says thyme, this particular variety is not used for culinary purposes. It's hardy in zones 4 through 9. It's excellent for ground cover, spreads really, really well, really easily. It's excellent for suppressing weeds, which is something I really, I feel like I need help with. I forget to mulch in a lot of places, so I like the idea of a living mulch. I think it could be very, very cool. This also looks really great in containers because it will cascade and spill over the side. This is full sun to partial shade. These seeds don't require any kind of like cold stratification or soaking, and neither do the other seeds that we just went through. And I love seeds that don't require like extra steps. I think it's wonderful. So a couple of things about creeping thyme. It's typically used between like stepping stones or in rock areas and things along those lines. So you can start it in a couple of different ways. So let's talk about that. Okay, so if you are looking at growing this creeping thyme because you want to tuck it in between stepping stones and you need some smaller plants to get it started, you definitely want to start with something like the 12 cell seed cell starting tray, because this gives you basically 12 little plugs of creeping thyme. And we're not going to just put one seed. We're probably going to put 3 or 4 seeds in each of these. And then that gives you these sweet little plugs that you can plug into different areas instead of like a giant plant. So if you're wanting something maybe that you're wanting to grow in a container, you can start in a larger container like this, put several seeds across the top, have a big, large, full plant that you can tuck inside a planter or container. This will work better for planters and containers rather than the plugs that work better in between stones or something like that. I am going to start it a little bit different in that I am going to be starting with a tray. One of my trays, I drilled holes in it, and a reservoir, water reservoir. So the idea is I'm going to fill this with soil, sprinkle my seeds across the top, put water in the container and put it in here. Then when the time comes and this fills out, I can break it into little pieces and use it where I want it, or I can break it into maybe 4ths or 6ths and utilize it in containers. So this idea will actually give me a little bit of best of both worlds instead of just plugs or just a larger container. So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so for these containers, I literally just used a drill bit and I drilled a bunch of holes in here. The idea being that the container will be able to soak up water through these holes. So we'll go ahead and start with filling it with a dry potting soil. I'm going to use my hands to kind of compress this. And we're going to fill this with about 50% water, just like that. Go ahead and set our tray down and you will see it naturally go down. It's not going to go down as quickly as the cells, but it will work its way down. All right, and I can already feel the moistness coming to the top of the soil. So these are very, very tiny seeds. I'm gonna go ahead and sow all 50 of them in the container. They are surface though. They need light to germinate, so we do not want to cover them at all. All right, just like that. And I am gonna come through, make sure we have really good contact, being very careful because these seeds are so small that they could look like soil. So I am gonna make sure I brush back off into it just like that. All right, and we'll label that. These are surface sowed, so they do need light. They take about 7 to 21 days to germinate, and they need to be at about 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So I will not be placing these on a heating mat because that's the normal temp range for my inside area. I am going to make sure that I cover this with a humidity dome and make sure that the humidity dome is closed. Okay, I'm excited to get all this started. I do want to make sure I clarify that when I say surface sow, that is a seed that needs light to germinate. If it needed darkness to germinate, we would be covering the top of it with soil. So that's something to remember. I didn't use the vermiculite on the creeping thyme. At this point, these seeds are so tiny. So I am going to go with it on that way. For the blue lace flower, I did use the vermiculite. And for the toothache plant, I can use the vermiculite if I need to. The toothache plant germinates so quickly in 5 to 7 days. I'm not really stressed about algae growth on it because it's a quick germination. Whereas the Didiscus was like 10 to 21 days. So that is a way more opportunity for algae to grow. So having the vermiculite really helps tamp down that algae growth. And the creeping thyme is kind of an in-between at 7 to 21 days. If for some reason I see a lot of algae forming, I can still go back and add in some of the vermiculite to help along with that. Okay, another random thing. So I did a giveaway at the beginning of, I don't know if it's the beginning of the year or the end of December, where I was giving away a set of seeds from Bunnies and Blooms. And let me talk to you guys about it real quick. It was a pack of seeds that came with the zinnia mix, zinnia elegance, Jewels of Opar, Poppy Mix, Pincushion Mix, Love in a Puff, and Celosia Mix. And I had named the winner, and then winner never contacted me. So I do have a set to send a giveaway again to you all. And I didn't put this in the description of the video, and I didn't say at the beginning of the video. This is just for the people who watch till the end of the video. So those of you who watch to the end, awesome. If you are interested in winning these seeds, go ahead and drop in the comments below which of the 3 seeds that we started today you're most excited about seeing. The toothache plant, the creeping thyme, or the Didiscus blue lace flower. Just make a comment below and let me know which on those. I will go ahead and choose a winner. This is going to go out on Monday. I'll choose a winner next Monday. And then I'll get those shipped to you as soon as possible. All right, you all. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing these new seeds for me to start. New to me seeds, new to me flowers. It'll be really fun to kind of watch the process. I am going to try to continue to show y'all the process of what's going on my seedlings. Like I said, I need to go ahead and do an additional seedling update because there's a lot going. All of those tomato ones, tomato seeds that we started are coming up. The eggplants are coming up over here. Bell peppers are coming up, which is very exciting. The dahlias are doing really well. The coleus are starting to put on lots of leaves. All of the petunias need to be trimmed back again. There's a lot of good stuff going on in here, which is really, really exciting. So I do need to do an update and show you all of that. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you guys comment, it's so helpful for the growth of my channel. If you don't feel like saying anything, just drop an emoji below, and I love that as well. Somebody dropped a little blue whale the other day, and it made me smile, so really love that. And make sure you check me out on my social media outlets, including TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.